Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Blues podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and your number one source for daily Blues content. I'm Josh Hyman, and I'm going to be taking you guys on a bit of a frustrated episode today. That's what I'm going to be calling it. But I do have a brand new microphone, so there's that. Hopefully the audio is crisp and clear for everybody. But that being said, today will be a frustrated episode. Blues are playing the Florida Panthers in about an hour here at time of recording, but by the time it goes up on podcast streaming, it's going to be after the game, during the game, or something like that. So I'm not going to go too much into detail of the game tonight. But what I am going to be talking about is my frustration boiling over with the COVID cap relief or lack thereof, and the Blues literally being forced to play shorthanded with 17 skaters tonight. It's something that's driving me absolutely insane. Looking at the lineup is hilarious because it looks like looks like they forgot to write in a few names, but nope, that's just how the Blues have to play. 17 skaters. So going to be getting into that. What I think the Blues need to do to sort of rebound from it and battle through it, because this is as adverse as adversity comes. But before we get into that, I want to tell you guys about our sponsor today, and today's episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. The holidays are right around the corner, and finding the perfect gift is tricky. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to send friends and family an unforgettable gift guaranteed to be loved. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter in NHL into the search bar to order the perfect gift package. All right, so this is something that has been stewing in my mind for a while now. Ever since the 10 forward game we had a few weeks ago, I started thinking, man, this whole COVID thing has been a little bit of an oversight, I should say, by the NHL in terms of roster construction. It was pretty apparent then that the NHL didn't have a good plan in place to help teams that are dealing with a potential COVID situation that causes them to have guys out of the lineup at the last minute and not being able to deal with the cap whatsoever. And little did I know, having 10 forwards and 8 defensemen was going to be the least of the Blues' worries, because over the next few weeks, leading up from then until now, it has gotten exponentially worse. It started with Justin Falk going into COVID protocol. Obviously, that didn't affect their lineup too much. Then Jordan Binnington goes into COVID protocol, and the Blues are forced to play with a local goalie mask designer who works down the street for the Tampa Bay Lightning, or from the Tampa Bay Lightning arena, as their backup goaltender. That to me was, a little bit too far. That was over the line in terms of what I thought was reasonable for the Blues to have to deal with, or for any team to have to deal with, to be completely honest. That being said, it gets worse. The Blues go out, battle through that game, go one win, one loss for the Tampa Bay Lightning, earn a point against the Florida Panthers. I'm like, all right, you know what? They're dealing with this adversity. They're dealing with this. Binnington will come back soon, whatever. Come to find out that Robert Thomas is now injured. And the Blues, because of the lack of COVID cap relief, literally cannot call an extra player up. So tonight against the Florida Panthers, in about an hour, the Blues are going to be dressing 17 skaters, which is one below the minimum, or not the minimum, but one below the NHL standard roster size. So the Blues are playing shorthanded all night, which will create a multitude of issues, extra ice time for people, schemes getting messed up, line matchups getting messed up. But the biggest thing to me is you got all these guys playing extra minutes. You got these guys playing, I don't know when it started, but 6 games in 11 days at some point. They're in the middle of one of the toughest stretches of the season in terms of just playing consistently. This increased ice time has the potential to lead to even more injuries. You got guys that are going to be overworking themselves. They're going to be, getting double shifted out there, whatever it may be. You got guys that are going to be in very uncomfortable situations tonight due to the fact that the Blues are a man down on the roster. And the only thing that can do is lead to more injuries and lead to, a guy like Braden Shen, who's nursing an injury right now, it's going to be even harder for him to get back up to full health. It's frustrating. JTAP says in chat, it reminds me of when a couple guys don't show up in the beer league game. Yeah, it's true. It's frustrating that it seems like something that arbitrary. Mitchell Ward says, I would imagine it's because we only have 2 or 3 guys in COVID protocols. The other guys are injured. Yeah, on the surface, it is bad luck that the Blues have this many injuries on top of COVID, but it doesn't help when 2 of your guys in COVID protocol are making $6.5 mil and $7.5 mil a piece, or I don't know the exact numbers, but when the Blues are handicapped or handcuffed like this with a cap, having a guy like Justin Falk and Jordan Binnington go down, it really puts them right up against the cap, and it gives them no room for relief. And the other thing is a lot of teams are having games postponed and stuff. Obviously, the Blues COVID situation isn't bad enough, knock on wood, yet for that to happen. But it's definitely something that just feels like a complete oversight from the league. It's not even like I can look at this and say, oh, it's not fair. The Blues are getting a raw deal. No, it just feels like this is something that the league glossed over when making the cap rules for this season. And the Blues are the first of probably a few teams that are going to end up in a situation similar if COVID continues to run rampant throughout the league. Blues are not going to be the first team to deal, or they're not going to be the only team to deal with this. It's just unfortunate that they're the first team, and it feels like we're really getting the short end of the stick. But it really feels like the league missed the mark with this. It's putting players at risk tonight. The Blues being forced to play with 17 skaters. It's creating a greater injury risk for guys. I can go on and on. I'm going to try to keep this episode concise because, like I said, I'm very frustrated, and this is going to be a more rambling episode because I'm just kind of getting it all off my chest. But that being said, it's disappointing to see this out of the league like the NHL. It really feels like this is something that they've seen coming for forever now. This is like the third season that or the third kind of group of hockey group of play, counting the bubble last season and now this season. This is their third go around in terms of creating a COVID friendly NHL, and to have them drop the ball this much is mind blowing to me. The fact that the Blues are in this situation is so frustrating and so just mind blowing. Like I said, I cannot believe that this is a situation that can happen to a team in the NHL in 2021. Maybe if this was the first season of COVID, I would understand because, they hadn't really known what to do. But there's been so much planning to going into this, the way that the NHL is treating the season. And it's just so frustrating to see the Blues get the short end of the stick in this way. That being said, I am going to try to transition next segment into sort of a more positive outlook into how I think the Blues can battle through this and hopefully gain momentum from it. That being said, before I do that, I want to tell you guys about a brand new sponsor, and that is Omaha Steaks. Steak is literally my favorite food in the whole world. It's just me. That's just me, my honest opinion. So when I saw that Omaha Steaks was sponsoring us, I was psyched because I've gotten from them before and it's delicious. The holidays are right around the corner though, and finding the perfect gift is tricky. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to send friends and family an unforgettable gift guaranteed to be loved. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter code NHL into the search bar to order the perfect gift package. That's the name of the package. And it's for $99.99. You'll get 24 entrees, 24 different meals, including the world-famous bacon-wrapped filet mignon, chicken breast, sides, dessert, and so much more when you use code NHL. You'll also get an additional 8 Omaha steak burgers for free when you use that code NHL. We've all heard reports about shortages and shipping delays, so don't wait. Order the perfect gift package today at omahasteaks.com. You'll get 8 free burgers when entering the code NHL. Achieve gifting greatness with Omaha Steaks. Incredible flavor, incredible value, and 100% guaranteed. omahasteaks.com, keyword NHL. Don't miss out on the perfect gift package. All right, now, before we get back into today's episode, I do want to tell you guys about another sponsor, and that is Boost Mobile. Now, you listen to podcasts for the power of knowledge if you're like me, so you got to switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money. Because with Boost, you can get the power of a free 5G smartphone so you can listen to all the latest episodes, and the power of 3 unlimited data lines for only $30 a month per line so your family can harness all that brain power as well, and the power of one of America's largest 5G networks so you can do it all at the speed of 5G. With all that money you'll save and all that knowledge you'll gain, just how powerful will you become? You got to switch to Boost Mobile to find out. And plus, you can get a free Samsung Galaxy A32 5G smartphone when you switch to one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. And disclaimer, the free phone is limited to new customers and only one per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offers and coverage not available everywhere. or for all phones and networks. So see boostmobile.com for details to make sure you qualify. All right. So gonna try to take a little bit of a positive spin on this Blues situation. First thing I want to do is look at the lines. I want to read them out, and maybe there'll be a little sarcasm here because it's hard to spin there. But the lines for the St. Louis Blues tonight, they got 3 forward lines, 3 whole forward lines. What do we do to deserve that? Brendan Saad, Ryan O'Reilly, Oscar Sundqvist, Jordan Kyrou, Braden Shen, Pavel Buchnevich, Ivan Barbashev, Logan Brown, and Vladimir Tarasenko, with Dakota Joshua filtering into that third line as well. Defensive pairings: Nico Mikkola, Colton Parayko, Torrey Krug, Marco Scandella, Scott Perunovich, Robert Bortuzzo, and Jake Wallman, with Husso as the goalie and a backup not listed. I'm assuming the backup is up with St. Louis now, but knowing these COVID rules, I bet they got to get another Zamboni driver to play E-Bug tonight. Also, Wallman and Bortuzzo are going to take shifts at forward, so that's great, I guess. Look, this is unprecedented for the St. Louis Blues. I think it was Torrey Krug who said he has never experienced something like this in his career, and I'm sure he even means going back to Pee Wee hockey. I'm sure going back to, when you're 12 years old, you got a complete roster every time you play. So it's a new situation for every single member of the St. Louis Blues tonight, including the coaching staff, goalies, general manager, everyone there. This is one of the biggest challenges they have faced, if not the most unique challenge they've faced in their hockey tenure. That being said, we've talked about a lot how adversity brings the best out of good teams. And hopefully it creates, learning experiences that you can look back on at the end of the season or later in the season and say, hey, remember when we did this? Well, then, we can channel that and use it for good here. I think we're still in a bit of a learning phase for the St. Louis Blues. And this is a very, very good learning opportunity. Whether it's down the line when someone gets injured in the first period or whatever, whenever the Blues have to play a man down in the future due to injury, whatever, they're going to have this game as a reference to be, well, hey, at least it wasn't as bad as the time against Florida, where we literally had 17 escapes. It sucks that the Blues are kind of the guinea pig for this. Like I was saying earlier, I would expect other NHL teams this season to deal with something similar, just because of the way that the rules are and the fact that it really wasn't that hard for the Blues to end up in this situation. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of guys missing. Let me pull up the list, actually. So Robert Thomas joined the group of David Perron, James Neal, Clem Costin, Jordan Binnington, Justin Falk, and Tyler Bozak. So that is a lot of guys missing. But that being said, it really doesn't feel too different than middle of any other season when you got guys down with injury. So it was not hard for the Blues to get here. It didn't take some incredible circumstance where so many guys got COVID and so many guys got injured. No, it's 3 guys got COVID and 4 guys are injured, or 3 guys are injured. That's a typical NHL situation, especially this season. It just so happens that one of the guys for the Blues was their starting goaltender, and another one of the guys is making a ton of money. So the cap relief is non-existent. So look, trying to take it as a positive. J-Tap mentions in chat Logan Brown. Logan Brown impressed me so much last game, and I don't think he would have had the opportunity to play at all, much less this much this season, if it weren't for the Blues injury and COVID adversity that they're dealing with right now. Logan Brown is a big forward, really, really strong on the puck. Really just seems like he has a high hockey IQ. In that last game, he was everywhere for the Blues. Has 2 goals now in his few games that he's been up. Could have had a couple more as well. I've really liked what I've seen out of Logan Brown. So that sort of stemming into my main overall point is the Blues have so much depth this season that I feel like some of the forwards have had a hard time getting up to full speed, just because you got a lot of guys that probably deserve top 6 minutes that are really just filling out the top 9 when this team is fully healthy. You probably got 3 lines that are capable of being in the top 6. And with Craig Berube's line shuffling, you got guys playing on the first line one game, the third line the next game. It's hard for them to get into a routine, hard for them to get into a rhythm. But with this very, hodgepodge thrown together roster, it's given guys like Logan Brown, Dakota Joshua, another guy who's looked really, really strong, opportunities to get more ice time. Brandon Saad's going to be on the first line tonight. Oscar Sundqvist going to be on the first line tonight. Guys that wouldn't expect to be up that high in the lineup, getting an opportunity to really show what they can bring to the team this year. And theoretically, fully healthy lineup comes back, and you move guys back to their proper lines. But all of a sudden, they've been playing first line minutes. A guy like Oscar Sundqvist could potentially really benefit from that. He's had a hard time getting up to full speed. He's had flashes, but tonight will be a huge opportunity for him to hopefully, get up to full speed, get back to that player we know he can be. And that way, by the time that the lineup is fully healthy, he can spot into that third line role that is so perfect for him. And he has been dominant in the past. A guy like Brandon Saad, who has found himself on the third line at times, getting 9 minutes tonight, and been one of our best offensive players as of late. So to continue to prove that he can be one of the most productive players on this team. Defenseman as well, Jake Wallman, a guy that has pretty much been the seventh defenseman all season, looked really, really good when he does play, is another guy that's getting an opportunity to, get more minutes, get increased minutes, could even be playing some time at forward tonight. So could be a blessing in disguise. Like I was saying earlier, Logan Brown may be a guy that you didn't realize his potential if this doesn't happen. And now I wouldn't be surprised if when this lineup is fully healthy, Logan Brown's competing for a spot, competing for a, fourth line role, extra forward role, something that I don't think would have happened if the Blues weren't in this situation. That being said, though, it's tough. It would not be surprising at all to watch the Blues really struggle over these next few games as they're just dealing with this chaos that their roster is. It's hard to build momentum when you've got not only an inconsistent lineup, you got 17 guys. It's hard to play complete hockey when you literally cannot play the scheme that you've been learning all year because you do not have enough players for it. It's puts the Blues in a real tough hole, and my expectations for them are very low because of that, just because of the amount of games that they've been playing lately. And the difficulty of their opponents combined with the roster situation, it's really hard to go into these next few games and expect the Blues to dominate. Like I said before the last Florida game, just survive, just hang on, prove that you can hang with these teams at the state that your roster's in. And then, hey, when you're fully healthy, make some real noise. But for now, it's just about sort of battling through this adversity and staying afloat, trying to stay in the playoff race. Can't set the expectations too high because it's just such an unprecedented situation that, like, even just coming out and playing a respectable game of hockey with 17 players on your roster is something that I think the Blues could be proud of. That being said, gonna try to sum this all up into a concise third segment after the break. I don't know how I'm going to do that because I've been all over the place today. But it's been a fun episode. So yeah, third segment, I'm going to be talking about takeaways from the Blues roster situation. Hopefully what we can see when they get fully healthy and my expectations for the next few games moving forward. But before we get into that, I want to tell you guys about our good friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season for more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues to march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts, and I'll be right back with the third segment. All right. I was having a difficult time kind of summarizing my overall thoughts, but I look in the chat. JTap comes in clutch as usual with the perfect statement to sum up how the Blues are Blues situation right now. He says, this is going to be a setback for a long time. Even when we are healthy, I feel like they have to start from scratch. And I think that's a pretty good way to sum it up. Is the Blues roster is so tattered right now and so beaten and hasn't been complete for so long that when this team is fully healthy, it is going to probably feel like starting from square one. It's not like they're going to be, getting one piece back here and there. It's right now they're missing so many key guys that they can't play Blues hockey right now. They can't find an identity right now because they're missing so many guys that are crucial to forming that identity. So when they come back, you hope that they can just pick up where they left off, but it's going to be so difficult considering the amount of time that they have missed and the difficulty of opponents that they've played in the meantime. It's not like they're going out there and playing bottom feeders. The Blues are playing the two of the 4 or 5 best teams in the league. Tampa's struggling a little bit this year record wise, but they've won 2 Stanley Cups in a row for a reason. And then Florida being at the top of the standings, it couldn't have happened at a worse time. So it's not like the Blues can sort of just sit back and try to figure it out. They got to be on their heels, battling against these teams. And that's why, I've been trying to hammer home, my opinion is just no expectations for tonight. The Blues could go out and get blown out of the water 5-0. And as much as that would suck, as much as, I would say, man, that's really unfortunate. I don't think that you could just, tap that up to their overall season at all. I don't think the Blues could go out there and lose 10-0 tonight. And how could you look at that and say, oh yeah, they're screwed this season? Because the situation that they're in is so unprecedented. The circumstances are so unheard of that, how do you go in with reasonable expectations to a hockey game? Because this has literally never happened before for every single guy on this roster. So it can't be indicative of the rest of the season because they're never going to be in this situation again. That being said, this isn't the first time, this season that they've dealt with adversity like this. They've had the emergency backup goalie. They've had Husso come in at the last minute. They've had Justin Falk come out at the last minute. And they've sort of rolled with the punches so far. Obviously they're 1-2 in their last 3 games. But they've earned points in all 3 of them. Or they've earned points in 2 of them, I should say. Tampa is obviously a really tough opponent. Splitting the matchup against Tampa is great, and then earning a point against Florida in Florida when Florida was the best home team in the NHL. That is beyond what my expectations were for this team, given the circumstances that they were in. That being said, the circumstances continue to get worse, and the adversity gets even higher. It gets even harder for them. But there's no reason to believe they won't continue to roll with the punches because that's what they've done all season. Every single time they've sort of had the opportunity every single time that they've been put in a situation where we could have seen the Blues roll over and just sort of, take their licks and say, man, this is just cards weren't stacked in our favor tonight. Can't got to chalk this loss up to that. They've battled through. Whether it's the 3-0 deficit that they came back against Tampa, or scratching out a point against Florida, or previous games in the season. This has been a team that has stepped up to the plate when adversity is present and has taken advantage of it and has thrived off of it. So that being said, this could potentially be huge for the chemistry and the camaraderie of this team in the long run. Let's say they come out and they get a win tonight with 17 guys. That locker room will have a chip on their shoulder as a result. Those players know that they're getting screwed over right now. They can't come out and straight up say in the press conference, oh yeah, the NHL is screwing us over. But you heard the comments from Torrey Krug saying this has never happened to me. The players know that this is an unfair situation to an extent. So that's going to be a chip on their shoulder. Especially if they go out and they perform well tonight, get a win, that locker room is going to be madhouse after the game. 17 guys, who cares? We can beat the Florida Panthers, best team in the league. It's a huge opportunity for the Blues to build momentum. And, obviously you hope that the transition of getting these guys back into the lineup will be seamless. It probably won't be, just with how many names you have to add and how much the lines are going to shift around. It's going to be a little difficult trying to add everybody back. But the Blues are at home tonight. The crowd is going to know what the situation is. Hopefully the crowd is a little bit more amped up, knowing the Blues got 17 skaters out there. Get behind them a little bit more, get a little rowdy, give a playoff atmosphere. And this could be a huge game for the St. Louis Blues. Win or lose, if Blues come out and hang with the Florida Panthers and put up a game to be proud of, whether it's, Ville Husso trying to steal a game like he did last time, and, Robert Bortuzzo eating the Panthers so inspiring that you can take positives out of it. And tonight, my expectations are low. I'm not anticipating a win by any means. I'm anticipating a strong performance. But the fact of the matter is the ceiling of the St. Louis Blues is lower than the ceiling of the Florida Panthers because of the fact that the Blues have less forwards. If both teams go out and play their best game of hockey, the Blues are probably going to lose because of how shorthanded they are. That's just a fact. So just gotta hope for a performance you can be proud of out of the St. Louis Blues, something that they can put in their back pocket moving forward and say, hey, we dealt with that stretch of games where we literally didn't have enough players to field the complete roster. We battled through that. We earned points against Tampa and Florida. Use it as motivation. Whatever situation arises down the road, whether it's late in the season, playoffs, whatever, this game tonight and these stretch of games are going to be a reference point for the St. Louis Blues. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they respond. Blues have done a really good job of responding to adversity all season, like I've said, and tonight is no different. Tonight is probably the biggest test they've had so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond to it. That being said, I think that's all the time I have here today. So I want to thank everybody out there for listening to the brand new microphone. Again, Tommy, I hope the editing is nice and crisp and clear. That being said, thank you everyone so much for listening. Please hit that follow or subscribe button on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That way you never miss a new upload. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. That way you can be like JTap and Greg Kane and everyone else, or Mitchell Ward and Greg Kane, everyone else that was in the chat. Makes these shows so much more fun. Love interacting with you guys. It's a really good time. Makes these episodes fly by. So yeah, hit that subscribe button and notification bell on YouTube. That way you can join the live stream. We try to do every single episode live here on YouTube. Follow our socials at Locked On Blues, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We're on all those. We post all the time. Follow my Twitter at Josh Hyman NHL. Follow Tommy's Twitter at TWelcher15. Thanks everybody so much for listening. And as always, let's go Blues.